Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the topic of our discussion is, Dr. Malpani says, worshipping Iswara. Because the temple is the place of worship. We should first get some understanding of our concept of Iswara. Vedas present a very unique concept of Iswara, somewhat different from what other traditions present. Traditionally, Iswara or God is looked upon as the creator of the universe, which is fine. But usually, that creator is away from the universe, someplace in heaven, and perhaps conducting the business of the universe from heaven. He creates the world, He has created us all. Not only that, but most traditions also look upon our life as just one lifespan. We did not exist before we were born. We will not be around after our death. This is all the window you have, all the opportunity you have to make your life or break it. So, this concept of Iswara, who has created the world, who has created us as we are, is not a very satisfactory concept, because questions arise. Why has Iswara made me what I am? And why should I have made other people what they are? Some people are happy, some are unhappy, some are rich, some are poor. There is a diversity in the creation, a disparity in the creation. Why should God do this? You cannot have a satisfactory answer for why. And He just creates, but the universe is different from Him. He is different from the world. In which case, again, there is this duality. He is different, world is different, we are different. All this raises many questions which are very difficult to answer. Vedanta presents a unique concept of Iswara. He is creator, of course, but as we know, for creating a simple object such as a pot, you require two causes. One is the pot maker, and other is the clay from which the pot is made. The pot maker is a conscious, intelligent entity. The creator must be a conscious, intelligent entity who should have the knowledge of the pot, must have the skills to create the past, must have the ability or energy to create the past. The second cause is the clay, which is called the material cause. So usually, in our day-to-day life, the creator or the maker, such as a pot maker, and what is made of this pot are different from each other. That is our usual experience. And therefore, it is imagined that in case of creation of universe also, God is different, the creation is different. But what does Vedanta teach? Vedanta teaches that God is not only the maker, but is also the material. Not only the pot maker, but also the clay. He is not only the efficient cause, but also the material cause. Abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. Karanam the cause, nimitta the efficient as well as the material cause. And this is represented, expressed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Saying this to Arjuna, say, Dhananjaya, hey Arjuna, there is nothing other than me in this universe. The maker also I am, the material also I am. I pervade the entire universe. Mai sarvamidam protam sutre maniganaiva. Lord Krishna gives a beautiful example of how, like in a necklace, how the pearls are threaded into a thread, or how the cloth is woven in the cotton. So Lord Krishna says, I am like the thread that sustains all the pearls in a necklace. I am like the very cotton around which the cloth is woven. These two examples are there. So God is like the thread which sustains the pearls in a necklace. If thread was not there, there would not have been a necklace. There would not have been the harmony called the necklace. All pearls would scatter away. But a necklace is a very beautiful, intelligent, harmonious creation. Similarly, we find the universe is one organic whole in which there is a harmony, there is an order, there is one self, one principle that pervades everything. Just as the thread pervades all the pearls, so also one Iswara, one self pervades the entire universe. Therefore, some of you may be familiar with a hymn called the Purusha Suktam, very popular hymn. Sukta means a hymn, Purusha means the person, the cosmic person, where Ishvara is praised as the cosmic person. To meditate upon Ishvara, Bhagavan, or God, a very beautiful picture is given to us. The universe is the manifestation of God because of the material cause also. The universe is the manifestation of God. We see all diversity everywhere. We don't see any connection between you and me. There is earth here, sky there, space there, air, water, all of these elements appear to be different from each other. We do not see any apparent connection between them. So the Purusha Sukta says that the universe is the manifestation of Ishvara, like the body of Ishvara. Just as my body is one organic whole, my body has many limbs and many organs. Head is one limb, hands the other one, legs are the third one. All limbs are different in names, forms, appearance, function, place, isn't it? It is in one place doing one kind of thing, hands doing another kind of thing, legs doing other kind of things. They're all different from each other, in different places, different names, performing different functions. But in this diversity, then there are so many organs. Organ of hearing, organ of sight, so many organs are there. All of these from one standpoint are different from one another, but still all of them make one organic whole. You know why? Even though this body has so many limbs and so many organs, still it makes one organic whole. Can you tell me why? There is diversity in this body, all right. But in the diversity there is a unity. In what sense? Because one self pervades the entire body. You touch my head, who do you touch? Touch me. Touch my toe, touching me. Touch the earlobe, touching me. Touch any part of the body, you are touching me, because I, the self, pervades the entire body. Like the thread pervades all the pearls, so also one self pervades all the limbs, all the organs, every cell. And that is what is the unity in diversity. That is why in this diversity also there is an order, there is a harmony. All the organs and all the limbs function in harmony with one another, in cooperation with one another, therefore there is harmony. So similarly also, Iswara is not someone different from the universe. Universe is not something different from Iswara, put it this way. Universe is not something different from Iswara. Iswara very much pervades the universe, just as the self pervades this body. So, please tell me, in this body, where am I? Am I in the eyes, in the ears, in the nose, in the hands, in the legs? Where am I? Everywhere. Question, where am I not? Similarly, if somebody asks us, where is Iswara? What is our answer? Where is he not? Everywhere, where is he not? So this is one uniqueness about the concept of Iswara in the Vedic culture, in Vedanta. Then the question is, Swamiji, you are saying that Bhagavan is everywhere? In everybody? In human being also? Animals also? Plants also? Insects also? Yes. In saint also? In a sinner also? You can, when you say God is everywhere, you can't say He is only in the saint and not in the sinner. You can't say that. For them, God is one, Satan is another one. For you here, in saint also, the God is present, in the Satan also, sinner also, then only can be all pervasive, isn't it? Does it make sense? Does it make sense that Iswara or God is present in a saint as well as is present in a sinner? Does it make sense? Can he be there? Swamiji, if Iswara, God, is in a thief, then why is not the thief from doing what he is doing? If Iswara is and a terrorist, then why does not stop the terrorist from doing what he is doing? Question is very valid, isn't it? Should he not? Should he not stop the thief from doing what he is doing? And should he not stop the terrorist from doing what he is doing? Swamiji, why they create mosquito? Mosquito is biting me, sucking my blood. Why doesn't God stop the mosquito from sucking my blood? Valid question, isn't it? That means that God has to organize the whole universe around your desire. I don't like mosquitoes, so mosquitoes should not be there. I don't like thieves, so thieves should not be there. God has not designed this universe merely for human beings. There are, how many kinds of beings are there, 8.4 million species are there. Have you heard of that? This is made for everybody, not for only human beings. Human being thinks that I am the only one here, but that's not so. Made for everybody. And therefore, there is room for everybody. There is a role that everybody plays. Mosquito also plays a role. A fly also plays a role. A tiger also plays a role. A lion. If we had our way, we would not have tigers and lions. We remove them. They are aggressive animals. They are violent animals, wild animals. We should not have them, isn't it? Suppose God removes all wild animals, what will happen? Suppose all wild animals are removed as you want, so that you can go to forest without any fear. What will happen? They killed all the predators. Then all the now what has happened in places like Pennsylvania and places, there is a whole population of deer everywhere, because the predators, those who are killing deers, are killed by human beings. Once there were so many snakes in a field, and they are not able to hear me. Is there echo? Is it? So you cannot hear me clearly? I'm sure you can, because you directly hear me. But the people at the back,
only that side. What you can do is try without the microphone and use the lapel to see what happens. Because the two are he's just recording, that's not the lapel. The only microphone is the one Swami is speaking.
Now these words do not get mixed up. This speed you can hear. I should adjust to your requirement. God should adjust to my requirement. So in one field, there were snakes, and this farmer brought some kind of poison, killed all the snakes. You know what happens? In no time, there were so many rats, they destroyed the crop. So everything has a place in the universe. Everything is in its proper place where it is. We may not understand its role, true. Everything may not be convenient to us, true. But really speaking, everything in the universe is where it should be, how it should be. The doctors will tell us all the limbs in our body should be where they are. You try to improve upon this creation, And you will find that it is very difficult to do. He mentioned my Guruji, Swami Dayanandaji. He is a great learned person, wise person. So one Swamiji was thinking, maybe we can make some improvement in the creation of God. He's created this body, that's beautiful. But he thought that his nose was placed in the wrong place. Because when somebody sneezes, all that bacteria from his nose all come to my nose. Somebody smoking, the nose is a chimney. From that the smoke comes out, enters my nose. Nose is not in the right place. We should change the place of the nose. So he had this bright idea. Maybe the nose should be placed on the head. Then if somebody smokes, the smoke goes away, won't come to you. Somebody sneezes, all bacteria goes away, won't come to you. Very clever, isn't it? Swami is very happy with this idea. Wow! I have suggested an improvement in Iswara's creation. When Swamiji was invited to Ahmedabad for lectures, before the talk, there was coffee. So Swamiji was invited, Swamiji, please have a coffee. Now coffee, tea, everything was displayed there. The way the Gujaratis make coffee is they take water, milk, coffee, spices, they will spice everything, boil everything. Whether it is tea or coffee or whatever, in appearance you cannot make out any difference, this tea or coffee. Now Swamiji wanted coffee, so pick up that cup, hold it before his nose to decide whether it's tea or coffee. He said, if the nose was on the head, we would pour the coffee there. So really if you think through, not just a little narrow picture, not just from a narrow standpoint. It should be turned away, I think, turned away, because there is a feedback. Still further. See if it makes a difference. You have just one loudspeaker, that's all you have?
The other one is not working.
All right. Must be the reason. Someday you will have to do some acoustic of this hall. You will require several loudspeakers to distribute the sound properly. Coming from one, spreading everywhere. Naturally, when we make these halls, we don't think much of the acoustics. I think it has become worse. By doing this, the echo seems to be even more than what it was before. But this was just a joke about the nose being placed on the head. The point is that you cannot improve upon this creation. You know why? Because it is the creation coming from infinite wisdom. The creator must have the knowledge of what he has to create. And the skill. The part maker must have the knowledge of the part, knowledge of how to create the part, and the skill. One day in our Gurukulam, we have a children's program, and one of our teachers was teaching the children the art and craft. So he used to borrow a potter's wheel from somewhere in the community to demonstrate to the children how to make pots. I was passing by and he was demonstrating how to make pots. He saw the Swami. He said, Swami, come here. let me show you how to make a pot. So he took a little lump of clay and placed it there, and so you press it here, press this way, give a shape like that. That's how you make pot. I thought making a pot is simple. I tried my hands. Until he finishes, everybody will look there, they won't look at me. So I have to stop.
Sorry.
Anyway, forget about the story I was telling you. Okay, so in short, you require the knowledge and the skills and abilities to create. So Iswara, who has created the whole universe, must have all the knowledge, infinite wisdom. So understand that whatever is created out of infinite wisdom. With our limited wisdom, we offer suggestions as to what Bhagavan should do and what he should not do. But we place you there once. See how you manage the universe. You find that as it is an organic whole, a complete creation. Purnamadaha Purnamidam. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Purnam Adaha. Adaha means Iswara. He is Purna. Purnamidam. This universe also is Purnam because it is the manifestation of Purna. Although we say that Iswara created the universe, it is not like a pot maker creating a pot. When we say Iswara created the universe, we mean that Iswara, on the other hand, this is very important to understand. It is not that Iswara created a universe like a pot maker creates a pot. No. Iswara did not create a universe different from him. Iswara manifested as a universe. Follow? Not created. Creation different from you. Here, Iswara manifests as the universe. Purnamadaha Purnamidam. Iswara is, that is called Iswara is Purna. What is Purna? Purna means one is complete. Whole. Incomplete or whole, there is no lack, no want, that's called whole. So, when he creates, when he does, he has no personal agenda. When we do something, always a personal agenda. Because we always need something. Iswara has no personal agenda. Therefore, what is created also, manifestation, is also Purna. Now, all of this understanding of Iswara also becomes important. Because we want to worship Iswara. See, Iswara has the most important place in our life. There cannot be a moment of life without Iswara. We may not recognize His presence in our life, that is our problem. But He pervades our life constantly. His presence is there every moment. Our Swamiji explains how every moment we are experiencing the grace of Iswara. Our heart is throbbing, love, dub, love, dub, love, it stops, right? Dub, it stops. How does it start? When the heart stops, how does it start? Again dub stops. How does it start? It's beyond my strength anyway, but whatever. This one. No, that is loosening. Okay. Iswara's presence is there every moment. It's love. Now, how it starts is inexplicable, right? Is it explicable? Stops, starts, stops, starts. In that gap, what is there, Bhagavan's grace, Ishvara's grace. If it is there, the love will become dub. If it's not there, it's gone. Even your breath, it is said in one stotra, Nishvase nahi vishvasa kada ruddho bhavishyati. You cannot trust your out breath that will come back. It is possible that the breath may go out and may not come back. Goes out and comes back. What does it show? Ishvara's grace. If we examine our life, we find that every moment we are enjoying Ishvara's grace. Whether we know it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not. Even a person who says, I don't believe in God. You know what he says? I don't believe in God. But ask him, please tell me, how does your organ of speech function? Behind that also, Ishvara's grace. The eyes see, Ishvara's grace. Ears hear, Ishvara's grace. Speech talks, Ishvara's grace. And therefore, understanding Ishvara becomes extremely important in our life. That is where the worship comes. Now, you do not need to worship Ishvara. You see, animals don't worship Ishvara. Other than human beings, there are no temples, no worship. You know, how come other creatures do not need to worship Ishvara? Because they are quite happy with what Ishvara gives them. But we have our own agenda. Never, we are not necessarily happy with what he gives me. He gives me a job with $25,000 a year income. I want $50,000. $50,000, I want $75,000. He gives me one raise, I want 3 raises. Meaning that we have these desires or expectations where we seem to desire more favor than what is coming to us. His favor is there to everybody. But we are not satisfied with what he gives us. We want more than what he gives us. So, we have to request, pray to him to bend the rules somewhat. If everything happens according to rule, then we will not finish where we want to. We are very ambitious people. And then, what can you do with this? Therefore, prayer and worship is very much in order because we need grace or favor of Ishvara. You know very well that for the successful completion of any endeavor, we require three factors. One is called prayatna, meaning an adequate and appropriate effort. Kalaha means time. That effort must be at the right time. A farmer must sow the seed, till the soil, sow the seeds at the right time. And for the right length of time he should pursue. Then only he can get harvest. So time also is a very important factor. But we know very well that in spite of the farmer doing what all he does, there is no guarantee that he will necessarily get a successful harvest, is it not? Sometimes rain does not come, too much rain, too much cold, all kinds of natural things can happen which can affect the crop. Therefore, we require a third factor. What is the third factor? Called Daivam or grace of Iswara. Who is Iswara? We said is manifest as a universe. And universe functions according to certain laws. And there is this law. As you sow, so you reap. Law of cause and effect pervades. But we want a special favor. Therefore, now what happens is, when we take up an endeavor, an action, work, then we guesstimate what the outcome will be. But there is no guarantee that we will get that outcome. As Lord Krishna says, karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have the freedom in performing action, but you don't have freedom in determining the outcome of the action. Why? Because outcome is governed by many variables, known and unknown to us, which are not in our control. We can't control rain in case of the farmer. You can't control insects, you can't control disease, you can't control pests, you can't control those things. Meaning that apart from our effort as well as time, we require that the rain should be kale varshadu parjanya, the rain should come at the right time. There should no insects and pests. Everything should go as I want, then only I can get the successful result. Meaning what? We want that those variables should function favorable to us. So we require favor of those laws, favor of those variables. Then only we can have success in our endeavor. What is laws? Iswara, which means that we require favor of Iswara. We require His grace. Our Swamiji was telling us his experience. Once Swamiji was traveling in India from Mumbai to Ahmedabad. His habit is he goes to the airport at the last moment. In the olden days it was okay, but now when this time he went, he found a long line in security. Only 20 minutes were left for the flight to depart, and long line in security. He gave up all the hopes. There is no way that I can get this flight. And all of a sudden, one airline agent came. Ahmedabad, any passenger? Ahmedabad. Yes. Okay. He was taken separately, quickly, and to the aircraft. That's how he got his flight. What happened? The variables became favorable to him. Similarly, so that is called what? Grace. Thus, we require, because we have ambitions, because we have desires, otherwise you don't need anything. If you like trees and plants and animals, whatever comes to you is all right, then you don't require to do any prayer. But because we have desires, we have ambitions, we have likes and dislikes, I want things this way and not that way. Therefore, we need help. Because we do not have all the knowledge. We have knowledge, but we are limited in knowledge. We have the capacities, but limited in capacity. We have power, limited in power. So we have the Jnana Shakti, power to know, Ichha Shakti, power to will, Kriya Shakti, power to act. These powers are given to us, but they are very limited. And therefore, we cannot accomplish what we want through the limitations that we have. Therefore, we require help. We require the grace of Iswara. That's one of the important reasons why we pray. So, when all devotees come in with this tension, we don't know what they're saying to Iswara, what he's saying to them. But mostly prayers will be like this. Oh Lord Rama, my daughter is now marriageable age. Please find a matrimonial alliance for my daughter. My son wants to go to medical college. Please make sure that he gets proper score in his MCAT. I lost my job. Lord, please help me get a new job. I'm suffering from this disease. Please release me from that. Most of the devotees come here, and isn't it so? You perhaps don't, maybe. But most people do. Because we find that we need a lot of help in our life. That is where the prayers come. Worship comes. Why worship? For pleasing the Lord. So why would He favor? When would He shower His grace upon us? When He is pleased with us. So we will need special grace. The general grace is there. We need a special grace to fulfill our desires. And for that, the special prayers, worship. So worships, prayers, all of these are part of our effort of pleasing the Lord, so that we win His grace, His favor, because we recognize that without His favor we cannot accomplish things in our life. No, Swami, I don't believe in praying like that. All right. There are some people who are very mature. They don't pray for this and that. They don't want any material things. What do they want? They want spiritual growth. For that also, we need to pray. In fact, you need to pray more. For your spiritual growth, there are many obstacles. You know which are the obstacles? Obstacles are within our own self. It is like this, like the story of Ramayana. As long as Sitaji is there with Rama, no problems. So Ravana had to in fact work out a conspiracy. So that somehow Sita would be separated from Rama so that she will have no protection. And so he went with uncle Marich, requested him to become a golden deer. We know the story. How Sitaji was tempted by the golden deer. Rama said to him, "Hey Sita, this place is infested with all Rakshasas. That is all Maya. And therefore don't trust them. They cannot be a golden deer. I want it." And Rama was made to chase that golden deer. Bring him live or dead. Live, I will take him as my pet to Ayodhya. Dead, I will get the skin to make my garments. Golden deer. All right, Lakshmana is placed to protect Sita. But this was known. So Maricha, when Rama shot the arrow, he, in the voice of Rama, he shouted, "Ha Sita, ha Lakshmana." And Sita is scared. She forced Lakshmana to go behind Rama without protection. Viveka, Vairagya, everything is gone. Ravana is waiting. How many heads Ravana has? 10 heads. Stand for what? 10 organs. 5 organs of perception and 5 organs of action. There were tenfold objects, all tempting us. So Ravana represents the temptation of all sense pleasures. As soon as Sitaji lost Viveka in form of Lakshmana, the temptations are ready and she gets kidnapped. She gets imprisoned in Ashoka Vatika. Similarly, this mind is also kidnapped by who? By Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Ravana stands for Raga. Kumbhakarna stands for Dvesha. Raga, Dvesha. Lord Krishna identifies this inner enemies Kama, Krodha, Tatha Lobha. Tasmat etat trayam chayet. Here Arjuna, these 3 are your enemies. Kama, passion, Krodha, anger, Lobha, greed. So what comes in the way of our spiritual growth? Swami, I am trying to meditate, but my mind is not in my control. Mind runs away here and there, what should I do? And the mind is always with me when I am watching TV. Mind is with me when I am with my cell phone. I am able to concentrate everywhere. When it comes to puja, mind is not with me. Japa, mind is not with me. Meditation, it's not that mind is always not with me, it's there with me on many things. But when I want, it's not with me. What takes the mind away is kama, krodha, lobha. Those are inner enemies. Just as Sita was kidnapped by these enemies, so also our mind is like Sita. When it is Atma, the self, so long everything is fine. Once it gets divorced from there, then it gets kidnapped by these demons Kama, Krodha, Lobha. So just as Sita, what does she do? She constantly chants Ram, Ram. Then Rama comes and rescues her. So also we need Iswara's grace in order to rescue us from the hold of these internal demons. So that is where also prayer comes. That is where also worship comes. For both, therefore, if you want material gains, prayer and worship is in order. For spiritual gain, then also they are in order. You may want both of them. The prayer and worship should become a regular part of everybody. But Swami, why a temple? I perform prayer in my home. Why should I come to temple? There are many people, women regularly go to temple. In India, men don't usually do that. And so, but when women goes to temple, this fellow doesn't get his cup of tea. Some of his conveniences are not taken care of. That is his problem. And so, why do you go to temple? God is everywhere. Why don't you go to temple? He doesn't want to go to temple. He doesn't want her also to go to temple. So poor lady cannot argue. Is not God everywhere? Yes. Why do you have to go to temple? Is God only in the temple? The answer is yes. God is everywhere and particularly in temple. Because a piece of wood, you know that the fire pervades the wood. Fire pervades the wood, right? But to experience that fire, you know what you need to do? In the olden days, you know what they did? They didn't have matchsticks those days. They used to make 2 blocks of wood with hemispherical carvings with a rod in between and hold against each other and then turn the rod So that way, with friction, sparks are created and the fire is gained. That's called manifest fire. So fire is all there in the wood, but it's of no use unless that fire becomes manifest. Then only it is useful. So also, Iswara is everywhere. But then, we need a place where it is manifest. So temple is a place where Iswara is manifest. So we don't look upon these as stone idols or something like that. We look upon them as God. Why? Because as I said, just last month, the Prana Pratishtha was performed. Prana means what? Life. Life was infused in these deities. That's how they become Chetan, meaning that they become live. And thus they gain the capacity to bless us. Therefore, we worship Iswara in this form. You can worship Iswara through this form. The form also can be looked upon as a symbol for worshipping. But here, this itself is also manifestation of Iswara. You know what the Vaishnava Acharya said? There are different kinds of incarnations of Iswara. This is called Archavatara. Incarnation of Iswara as Archa, as what? As the image, as the idol. So this is, according to them, this is the incarnation of God. And therefore, when you worship them, worshipping God. Meaning that just as it requires us to churn the wood to get the fire, so also this is also specific manifestation of Iswara. Therefore we come here and pray. Because here we directly get the grace of Iswara. Our temples are important. The prayers in temples are also very important. And another thing is, more people come, more they pray, it builds up an environment. So here is an environment which is infused with devotion. Therefore, when you come here, we also get inspired with devotion. You see, when many years ago, when we went to Rishikesh, one Mahatma told us that, look, you chant Om Namah Shivaya once in Bombay, 100 times you chant there, and once you chant in Himalaya is equal. Because when you go to Himalayas, you go to Ganges, all very sacred places, and you also get that inspiration. Meaning that those places have a certain power to invoke that devotion from you. Similarly also, the temple acquires a power wherein it invokes the devotee from you. It's a devotee who should worship. And when I come here, that devotee gets invoked in me. That's how the worship becomes more effective. So that is why the temple and worship of Iswara. Why worship? Because we require His grace. We require His help. How do you get that? By pleasing Him. How do you please Him? By worshipping, by prayers. Worship at the physical level is called puja. Worship at the oral level is called japa or chanting or kirtanam. At the mental level called upasana, meditation. All these different levels, Iswara is worship. So that's how worship of Iswara. What is Iswara? And what's the use of the worship, purpose of the worship, and the nature of the worship. Okay, any questions? How does one determine? How much? Or how much should you pray? 24/7? Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. Arjuna, the sarveshu kaleshu, at all the times, ma manusmara. Please remember me while even performing all your duties. So ideally we should remember him, worship him constantly. Well, that's difficult. Therefore, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. Then stretch it. 45 minutes in the morning, in the evening. Meaning that take out whatever time you can from your routine for the prayer. It is not easy sometimes to necessarily fix our mind in the worship. So, 45 minutes may be difficult, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we try to stretch it as much as we can. But really speaking, our life should become prayerful. Our mind, what we want is, our mind should become prayerful. So that we do not have to make a special effort of prayer. Whatever we do becomes a prayer. Whatever we do becomes a worship. That's the ideal condition we want. Because that is what connects us with Iswara. The prayer, the worship is what connects us with Iswara. And we want that connection. Hopefully constantly there, or as long as possible. And therefore, more we pray, more prayerful our mind becomes. Then the mind sees Ishvara because He is everywhere. His grace is everywhere. And so we become sensitive. We realize we don't take things for granted. I'm walking, thank God. I'm talking, thank God. I'm able to see, thank God, because I could not be. It is possible that I may not be able to walk, or talk, or see, or hear, or eat, or drink, or think, or do. It is possible that I may not be able to do, I'm doing it. So recognize the grace of Ishvara that is flowing. But that also requires a prayerful mind. So through the prayers and worship, what we want is our mind should become prayerful or worshipful.
As we see, everyone has their own belief, their way of worship, and their thought process about how do we go near to God. There are one group of people who believe that, okay, the more we worship, the more we take Krishna's name or God's name or Shiv's name, the more closer we get to them. And some people then can argue against that it's about implementation and not just worshipping. How good as a human being do you give services, do you interact with the society, how much of like karma you do. And some people believe that by doing good to others, I'm going to go further to God. So what would be your comment in regards to that, about that philosophy or that way of thinking that worship is not as important as doing good deeds? I know both of them have their own role, but how do we have a clarity on what the philosophy is? That true? Does that really bring us closer to God?
I think everybody understood the question. Some people prescribe worship in a formal way, as we do in the temple at our home. Other people say the best way of worshipping is serving people. So, this kind of opinions have always remained. Let us put it this way, let there be a nice balance of both in our life. You see one thing, it is not easy to serve people, not easy to serve the society, not easy to please anybody, because they always keep pushing our buttons. It is nice to say that I will serve, but it is not easy to serve because when can I serve you? When I can make you happy? When can I make you happy? when I do what you like me to do, when I avoid what you do not like me to do. So very often we rub the people on the wrong ends. In the very process of serving them also, very often we do the wrong things. Not unusual. What I'm saying is, it is very easy to say, serve the people, not easy at all. Therefore, we want the training. When you're worshipping Bhagavan, He does not push any buttons. Always smiling at you, always pleased with you, there is no complaint. When you offer Naivedya to Bhagavan, suppose you forgot salt, no complaint. Too much chili, no complaint. So here is a place where it is much easy to relate and much easier to offer and easier to please, easier to maintain the spirit of worship. Understand that you can worship Jagat as Iswara provided in your mind there is the spirit of worship. Just because I do something doesn't mean I'm worshipping. There must be the spirit of worship. What happens is, I try to do something and they push my button. You know that while interacting with the world, they always keep pushing buttons. Sometimes they make you angry, sometimes frustrated, sometimes resentful, sometimes jealous. At that time, the spirit of seva does not remain, worship does not remain there. You follow what I'm saying? It is much more difficult to worship. So, get the training of how to worship. And as I said, what is important is to cultivate a worshipful mind, a prayerful mind. When I go out in the world with a worshipful mind, then it's likely that my action will be in the form of worshipping Iswara, in the form of Jagat. It is true. We want that our worship should become inclusive. That it should not remain confined to one name and form, but it starts with one name and form. And slowly it extends. Ideally we want that, as Ramana Maharshi says, Jagat Aishadi Yukta Sevaram Ashtamurti Vrut Deva Pujanam. This Jagat is manifestation of Ishvara in his eightfold form. Therefore, worship Jagat as though it is Ishvara. But for that, as I said, we require a worshipful attitude, which will not get disturbed under different conditions. We can maintain an equanimity of the mind in the face of variety of treatment that is given to us. So when you get that mind, yes, you need not do this, do that. But for getting that mind, this worship becomes very important. So those fellows who do not want to worship always find these excuses. Look at their life. Are they serving the world? They say you should serve the world. Are they? No, they are only talking. What happens is, because they don't do what you are doing, therefore they try to find some arguments.
Can you just briefly mention the importance of location?
Importance of?
Location. For example, you mentioned Rishikesh. So can you just elaborate on that? How?
Yes, how in a given, see, suppose Himalayas, what is the importance of a place, he says, importance of location. We give the example of Rishikesh or Himalayas, because it is inhabited for centuries or millennia by rishis and sages and saints who maintain a certain thought flow which influences the environment. So we influence our environment by the way we think. So therefore, by their penance, by their worship, they have created an environment there. So when we go there, we also get the benefit of that. So temple becomes like that. For a length of time, when people perform worship here, also an atmosphere is created. So why do people selectively go to certain temples? Everybody wants to go to Tirupati, everybody wants to go to... Because those are the places which have acquired that kind of a power, you can say. And therefore, temple also is a place which in course of time acquires a certain spiritual power which blesses us, and therefore place becomes important. This is a story of long time ago. Somewhere in Spain, they built a church. And the congregation would come. But people had one complaint. They went to the priest and said, when we come to this church, somehow in our mind, violent thoughts come. When you come to church, prayerful thoughts should come to us, but violent thoughts come. And so they did not understand. But then they investigated. They discovered that some time ago, on that very place, there was a slaughterhouse. For a long period of time, a slaughterhouse was there. Slaughter was done. That created a violent environment. And that's what people felt. So how environment has an effect on us. Therefore, we should seek a favorable environment. Something that is, when we become so strong, become free of influence of the environment, okay. But we need a favorable environment. So temple provides that environment.
One thing is worshipping, and the second thing is with the consciousness or with the attitude to worship. Can you give some guidance on with what mindset should be versus, because as it happens even in some of the artis, we say Jai Jagdish Hare. You know, we talk about all the materialistic opulences and desires that we ask by worshiping. Is that the right attitude to go? Because when you talk about things on spiritual level and plane, that all doesn't matter. We actually want to try to get out of this material existence, to go back to Godhead. So what would be your advice on the attitude and the consciousness of worship? What should we be asking or seeking while we worship God?
What should we ask when we worship? It depends on our maturity. What is maturity? What you need in your life, according to you. It is true that ideally you should ask only for spiritual growth, but everybody is not ready for that. People still see needs of the material things, and so as long as you see the needs, nothing wrong in asking. We pray to Iswara, God, give us the viveka, give us the wisdom. So we understand what is important and what is not important. So we seek that wisdom. So depending upon what wisdom we have, we will pray. If the wisdom is that I want the material things, well, you pray for that. Or people pray for both. Sometimes pray for this and some pray for that. Hopefully our prayers will be more and more for spiritual wisdom as we go along. It will not be immediate shift, it will be a gradual shift. From material needs to slowly spiritual needs.
And what is that spiritual need? Is it obtaining...
Spiritual need is simple. Oh Lord, please give me bhakti. Please give me shraddha. Please give me purity of mind. Please give me a mind with which I can worship, with which I can think of you. I can meditate on you. We can ask for that. Give me the wisdom so I can recognize your grace. Give wisdom that I can recognize you.
sometimes we hear that there are multiple paths we hear. Dvaita, Dvaita. Some places we see like there is a Vigraha Puja or form, Akar, Sakar. Some places we hear about Nirakar. We hear sometimes Sakar try to blaspheme Nirakar concept. And sometimes maybe Nirakar, I never heard like Nirakar blaspheming Sakar, but this I heard prominently like Sakar is blaspheming Nirakar. Like no, only this type of worshipping is the only right way. Nirakar and all are the lower understandings. So my question is, if like oceans, mountains, river banks, all these places are being created or manifested by Lord Himself, Bhagwan Himself. Vigraha, anyway, Vigrahas are Vigraha, we do plant Pratishtha. But that are being made by man who is full of lust, full of desire, full of many, negative things in ourselves. If we cannot find, if the Sakar cannot find God on the places where the God has made, how the Sakar can find God in the things which are the human being have made? What is the right understanding of this?
You are confused in your question. You started with Sakar and Nirakar and then you went into this Akar and that Akar. First of all, we said whatever is God. So all Akara also is Him and Nirakar also is Him. There cannot be Akara without Nirakar. Nirakar alone takes different Akara. So it's both. Now, why we pray particular Akaras here? These have been given to us by our scriptures, by our traditions. So these are proven to be effective in worship for millions, thousands of years. And therefore, we don't worship anything, any Akara, as given to us by the Acharyas and the method of worship given to us by them, which have proven their effectiveness. And that's why we do that. Hopefully, if you see God here, someday you may see it in mountain. Seeing God in mountain is more difficult than seeing here. So we start with an easy exercise. And as we said, slowly we'll be able to see God elsewhere also. God is one. Why do we have so many forms? God is one, but performs many functions. Like one man, his father at his home, his manager at his place of work, the tennis player in the club, swimmer in the swimming pool, shopper in the shop, a devotee in the temple, one man. Everywhere his name is different and form also is different. At home his father, his attire is different. At office his manager, he's called differently, his name is different, form is different, attire is different. When he plays tennis, name is different, form is different, attire is different. Meaning that one person can have many names and forms that are called all functional names. Father is a functional name. Cook is a functional name. Boss, a functional name. So all different functional. Iswara is one because performs many functions. Therefore, his functional names are different. So as creator, he is called Brahma. As sustainer, he is called Vishnu. As destroyer, he is called Rudra. As remover of obstacles, he is called Vigneshwara, and so forth. So one Ishvara alone, different functional names. So each Vigraha represents a particular aspect of Ishvara. So Lord Rama stands for Dharma. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. Lord Krishna represents, dharma is there, but represents what? The joy, the freedom, the love. Not that love is not here, but predominantly dharma and satya in Rama. That love and joy in Krishna. In Lord Shiva, renunciation, knowledge, renunciation, tranquility, asangata. Vigneshwara represents this joy, modaka, So we represent his joy and the manifestation of the universe. So, Iswara is all knowledge, all powers, all functions. So, different devatas represent the specific aspects of Iswara. So, therefore, we have different kinds of needs. Somebody needs a father, somebody needs mother, somebody needs a master. So you worship somebody needs to worship Iswara as Swami, somebody as Pita, somebody as Mata. So in mother form is there, in father form is there, as master also is there. So different emotional requirements are there. The beauty about Hinduism is that everybody has a private, personal relationship with Ishvara. The different forms enable us to establish a personal relationship with Ishvara. He is not only father in heaven, he is mother also. He is Swami also. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva. Tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva. He is everything. So I have the freedom to relate to him as Swami, as father, as mother, as even child. So Vatsalya bhava is there, Sakhyam is there, different bhavas are there, predominant different people. Therefore, they relate to Ishvara in different ways. So it's a wonderful thing. We don't understand the beauty of our culture. And so we thoughtlessly criticize our own culture. Like how many gods are there? What is it? Because we don't understand anything. Unfortunately, the Hindus, they don't bother to understand. They're only only in criticism. Nobody ever goes into understanding or study. They repeat what somebody says. Therefore, it is important that we should really get acquainted properly with our own culture, we understand our own culture properly. So important. There is no tradition like this which gives you an immediate direct contact with the world, Lord, in your own way. So every devotee relates. What is most important in worship is what? Relationship. When does the bhava come out? When my mother comes, a son comes out of that. When my son comes, a father comes out of that. Isn't it so? So therefore, when we relate with some bhava, as son, as father, as brother, as mother, etc., then the devotee comes from there. That's how it makes it possible for us to relate to Ishvara. Establish a personal relationship. Without relationship, there is no worship.
How much is ritual and routine important in worshiping Ishvara? Like, you have a routine and then you do it just for namesake, and it might not translate to the mindset that you have towards worshiping. Sometimes you're upset because you're not able to do the routine properly, and there's obvious obstructions when you're trying to do something for worshiping. So, how much is that important, and should you have what kind of mindset in what you're asking is? You don't have the correct emotions or the feeling.
See, there are two things you're asking. One is, what is the role of ritual? Secondly, how can I maintain a worshipful mind while performing ritual? Two different questions are there. So there's another problem people have. Why rituals? Hinduism all rituals and rituals. But the life is full of ritual. This morning I had to travel from Detroit to Peoria. The flight was 8:41, 7:41. I must reach there at least 1 hour before the departure. If I reach the gate Before 10 minutes of departure, they won't allow me. Before I reach the gate, I should go through all security, all kinds of procedure. What is that? It's a ritual, is it not so? Go there, get a boarding pass. Now today he says you get your own tag, baggage tag also from that computer. And then he will take your bag, ritual. Show me your ID. What's your age? How old are you? Okay. This line, security. Take out your laptop. Take out this. Is it not ritual? Pass through the screening, ritual. Go to a given board, not just any gate. Go to a particular gate, not any flight. Zone number 3, you're 4, not now. Only when there is ritual that everything is a ritual. When you make tea or coffee, is it a ritual or not? If you don't make it according to these steps, something else will come out. You make sambar, make simple things also, you follow a certain ritual. Follow a certain sequence of steps. Is it not so? When you raise your child, when you're feeding the child, you follow any steps you do. So anything to be done properly requires a systematic sequence of steps. Then only any task can be performed effectively. So worship also requires systematic way. So there is sequence of steps. That's called upachara. That's why we call it ritual. The whole life is ritual. This is a ritual. I can't speak without these microphones. All ritual. So therefore, ritual gives us a structure as to how we can express ourselves. You want to express a feeling before the Lord, a structure is given to you. Express it this way. Mother's Day, a structure is given. Bring Mother's Day card, not some other card. Bring gift that the mother likes, not father likes. Christmas, ritual. Father's Day, ritual. It's not ritual? So similarly, a ritual is given to us so that we can systematically express our feelings and make offering in a systematic way. See, when there is a sequence, it is easier to make the mind focused. Because this has to... See, unless you are focused while even cooking, a mess will be made. If you are not focused in cooking, oh, I'm sorry, I added salt twice because you are not attentive. Oh, I forgot to put salt, not attentive. So when there is a sequence, you require to be attentive. So attentiveness is there. So thus the ritual makes my mind attentive. This. Now your question is, but my mind is not focused. No, that's another problem. Because kama, krodha, lobha, I told you, because of that. So there also we have to work on that. And we have to give some time, some quality time. You know what we do? This ritual is sandwiched between so many activities. I finish my cooking, I have 10 minutes, then I have to catch a bus or I have to go to work, and so while those 10 minutes I'm thinking my bus will go, this will happen. So we don't give quality time. We don't give the kind of priority that it should have. So give it the priority. Assign a time that you have nothing else to worry about. So that your mind is not worried about when is the next whistle. So between whistles they cook, whistles they on the pray, in the cooker. Now, that's okay. But we cannot expect our mind to be focused when it is in the midst of so many activities. So important to have a quality time. Try that. Also, when I'm so busy, I don't, then wake up 15 minutes early. So can you give 15 minutes to this? Meaning that we do have to make a conscious effort so that our mind is not distracted. It may still get distracted, still we do. Still we do. Because then the mind will get trained slowly. He is very anxious to get up and complete this, so that's another ritual. It should get over at a certain time. Because there must be arati, I guess, another ritual. Temple has to close a certain another ritual. Okay. Huh? One last question, okay.
If we are practicing any type of sadhana or devotional practices every day, sometimes it becomes very hard to maintain it. You want to do it, but you have responsibility. Sometimes your mind is just not there. How to maintain enthusiasm in devotional service?
See, the question is that you are not able to do your puja every day because of responsibilities. So puja is not a responsibility. When that does not become a responsibility, other responsibilities take over. Responsibility, I do. Then puja does not have the priority that other activities have. So unless we give it a priority, it won't work. It is true. What is less important will always be at the back burner, So give a certain time, some quality time, some priority, some importance. And it's understandable because when you do puja, you don't get anything out of it. You are just doing it because your mother asked you to do that or whatever. But if you do it regularly with a certain quality time, then you get started. Once you start enjoying it, then this will not be necessary. Your own mind will want to do it. Because we don't enjoy the puja, therefore we have to keep on forcing our mind to do. If you start enjoying it slowly, then the mind will want to do. Then these questions will not arise. Until then, we have to do it with will. Okay. You want a microphone? Yeah. Go ahead.